and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into it. We're looking at how human behavior, the stuff we do every day, plays out. Sometimes it's awkward, sometimes surprising.
Definitely. And these small things, these little interactions or choices people make, they can actually tell us a lot about communication, who we think we are, even about, responsibility.
Exactly. It's fascinating stuff.
And the sources we're diving into today, they give us these two really different windows, don't they? One's very domestic, first impressions, family stuff. The other, much more intense, legal pressure, fear, anxiety.
Right. Two very different worlds, but both super compelling.
Totally.
And our mission here, it's really to pull out the key insights, give you that shortcut, so you're really clued in on, what makes people tick in these situations.
We'll unpack what's going on, add some context, help you understand what really matters when people are just being people.
Okay, so let's start with that domestic scene. We're talking about Emma, right? She's basically in full-on panic mode, getting ready for George's new girlfriend, Amber.
Yeah, cleaning since 2.0. That detail says a lot.
It really does. She's all about the first impressions. But then Ed comes in, starts teasing her a bit, creates a little friction right off the bat.
And Emma's clearly got a plan here. What do you make of her strategy, like getting Kira to eat somewhere else?
Right, she says it's to make it less formal, not to scare Amber off.
Which sounds reasonable, but it really highlights that underlying anxiety, doesn't it? Introducing someone new into the family fold. It's often a bit nerve-wracking. We want them to fit in. We want the family to accept them. It's about managing those dynamics.
Oh, absolutely. And the dinner prep itself, it's almost comical. Emma's telling Will he has to change his shirt, offers him Ed's green one.
And Will's reaction.
Hilarious. He flat out refuses a white shirt. Says, not after last time, because of pasta.
Huh. See, it's those little personal histories, those tiny anxieties that bubble up. We all have them, right? Especially when we're trying to present that perfect image.
So true. Then the menu crisis hits. Shepherd's pie. Suddenly Emma's worried, what if Amber's vegetarian? Or pescatarian? Even though she went out and got special lamb.
Another classic hosting fear. Catering to unknown preferences.
And Will's solution. Just pure pragmatism. He pulls out his phone, checks Amber's social media.
No way.
Yep. Looks for pictures of her dinners. Comes back and says, well, she clearly likes a steak. Problem solved.
Wow. Okay. Modern solutions, I guess. But it underlines your point, doesn't it? These details, the clothes, the food, they feel small, but they're actually loaded.
How so?
Well, they're social signals. They're packed with unspoken assumptions, cultural expectations, especially when you're trying to impress someone new or fit into a new group. We read so much into them, often without even realizing it. Judgments get formed fast.
Okay, so fast forward. All this buildup, Amber arrives.
Yeah.
She starts with a compliment, says the house is much nicer than George said.
Ooh, a slight backhanded compliment there, maybe?
Maybe. But then, immediately asks Emma this really personal question. Where do you live, Amber? With your parents. Just out of nowhere.
Whoa, okay. Awkward.
And then the big mix-up. She gets George's dad and stepdad confused, thinks Ed is the dad, Will is the stepdad, or maybe the brother. She gets completely muddled up, apologizes, but still, yikes.
Yeah, that's a classic social faux pas. Nerves, maybe, or just not paying attention. Whatever the reason, those little stumbles can really color first impressions, can't they?
Definitely has a tone.
And I bet you, listening, have had moments like that. We all have, right?
Yeah.
Trying to navigate a new social situation and just putting your foot in it. Those instant judgments can feel pretty unfair sometimes.
For sure. And then we learn more about Amber herself. She talks about her car.
Oh, yeah.
Custom, lemony, apparently, but she says she wanted more banana.
Lemony, but wanted more banana cub.
Quirky.
Quirky.
And then the job thing, she says farm supplies is, quote, just a job. Her real work. She's an influencer.
Ah, okay. The influencer reveal.
Yeah.
A career influencing my followers, obviously. That's how she puts it.
And that framing, career influencing followers, it's really interesting. It kind of pushes against our usual ideas of what work is.
Right. It's not like a traditional job description.
Exactly. It speaks volumes about modern identity, how it's tied up with personal branding, online engagement. And when she mentions her followers demand so much attention, that gives you a glimpse into the reality of that kind of digital labor. It's a different kind of work.
Is it just generational, do you think?
Yeah.
Or something bigger about how value is created now?
Probably a bit of both. It's definitely a shift. And then you get the pie debate at dinner. She gets shepherd's pie mixed up with cottage pie, thinks it's beef.
Right, and suggests names like cowshed pie or milkade pie, even barn pie.
Which is funny, but again, it shows how even a casual chat about food can reveal different knowledge sets, different ways of seeing things. It's all very Amber, as he said.
Yeah, very Amber. So after she leaves, the family debriefs. Emma notes Amber hardly ate a thing. Interesting, given the state confirmation.
And was never off her phone, the consensus. Not what we'd have chosen for George.
Pretty clear judgment there.
And Amber's exit line is just unforgettable. A quick bazoo, and then she declares she's the girl with the hot boyfriend in prison.
Wow. Okay. That is quite the sign-off.
Right.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How quickly we form opinions based on these limited, sometimes strange interactions, and how people choose to present themselves. That hot boyfriend in prison line. What was that about?
Yeah.
Defiance, oversharing, just zero filter.
Hard to know, but it definitely leaves you wondering. Okay, so from that kind of awkward social pressure.
Let's switch gears.
Yeah, let's move to a very different kind of pressure, much more acute. We're talking about Kenton's trip to the police station for an identification.
Right, and the stakes here are immediately, obviously, much higher. This isn't about making a good impression at dinner, it's potentially about identifying someone involved in a serious crime.
And the process itself is delicate. Harrison, the officer, makes a really important point to Jolene.
He does. He advises her not to go inside with Kenton. Why? Because she's also a witness, and crucially, she's met Marky before.
So her presence could taint the ID.
Exactly. Harrison explains it could compromise the ID. It's a procedural safeguard. They need Kenton's identification to be absolutely independent, untainted by any potential influence, even unintentional. It's about the integrity of the evidence.
Makes sense. But then, after Kenton goes through it, he calls Jolene, and he completely downplays everything.
What does he say?
Tells her nothing happened, says, I looked at some photos, everyone was very nice, and crucially insists he didn't recognize anyone.
Wow. So he lies to her.
Straight up, which is such a powerful moment. It shows the impact, right? The fear, the anxiety.
Absolutely. It's a stark example of how trauma or intense stress can manifest. People might lie to protect loved ones, or maybe even to protect themselves in that moment, try to create distance from something terrifying. It could be a kind of psychological defense mechanism, denying the reality of it.
But the truth eventually surfaces. Later, at the pub, he confesses to Harrison.
What does he admit?
He admits he did see someone he knew. He recognized the young guy who pulled the dog off me that night.
So he did make an identification. He just didn't say so.
Exactly. He lied to the police too, initially.
And why? What reason does he give Harrison?
He says he just panicked. The words just wouldn't come out. He bottled it. Plain and simple, he was scared.
And that fear, that panic, it's not just an emotion, is it? It's physiological. In moments of intense fear, the rational part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, can get sort of hijacked by the amygdala, the fear center. The fight, flight, or freeze response kicks in.
So when he says the words wouldn't come out?
It's quite possible they literally wouldn't. His brain was prioritizing immediate safety, survival, over the complex task of providing testimony. It's crucial to understand this when we think about witness accounts given under duress. Memory and recall can be seriously affected.
But the consequences of that moment of panic, Harrison lays them out pretty brutally.
What does he say?
He tells Kenton, look, if you change your story now, you risk being seen as an unreliable witness.
Which could destroy his credibility.
Exactly. And any evidence he gives, Harrison says it could get thrown out.
That's devastating. So his fear, his very human reaction in that moment, could actually undermine the entire case.
It really could. It's such a heavy burden for him. He was the victim, and now his own reaction might prevent justice.
And it raises a massive question, doesn't it? How does the legal system, which needs certainty and reliability, deal with the messy reality of human fear and panic?
Yeah, it seems like there's a real disconnect sometimes.
There can be. Because one moment of bottling it, as Kenton did, driven by totally understandable fear, can have these huge, lasting repercussions. As Harrison points out, it potentially makes it even easier for Mark and his scumbag mates to get away with it. It really highlights the tension between the ideal of justice and the fallibility of humans under pressure.
It's really striking when you put these two stories side by side. So different on the surface, awkward dinner party versus police identification. But that common thread is there, isn't it?
Definitely. Human vulnerability.
Yeah. And that gap between what people intend or want to happen and what actually does happen. Emma intends to make a good impression, but it gets tangled up in social awkwardness and Amber's uniqueness.
And Kenton intends, presumably, to help bring attackers to justice, but fear gets in the way, with potentially disastrous legal consequences.
It shows how our reactions, whether they seem big or small, really do reveal a lot. About us, about the pressures we face, the world we're trying to navigate.
Absolutely. Whether you're trying to figure out the social rules of a new family dynamic or facing the immense pressure of the legal system, how you respond tells a story. It shows how our best intentions can sometimes get derailed by our own anxieties or by things completely outside our control.
So, thinking about all this, maybe ask yourself, what unspoken rules or maybe hidden fears might be shaping your own interactions day to day, your decisions? Could understanding those things maybe lead to, I don't know, different outcomes, new insights? What really stands out to you from this deep dive today?
So what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. Just any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's.
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever